Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Mayor and City Council of the City of College Park. I'm Mayor Bianca Motley Broom. We have a full quorum present with Councilors McKenzie, Karn, Arnold, and Gay. And so at this time, I will call the meeting to order at 7:30 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance is up first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm not certain who's handling the invocation this evening.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry, my apologies. Invocation will be handled by Chaplain Rose Stewart.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Let us pray. Most Holy Father, we give you glory for another day that you have blessed us to be representatives of your kingdom. Thank you for the leaders of this great city, our mayor, city council, and department heads. We especially thank you, dear God, for our employees. Please strengthen our city council and endow them with wisdom and grace as they make decisions concerning our city. Keep their hearts pure and their eyes turned towards your face as they work in the best interest of the people that they are called to serve. Anoint them with your Holy Spirit and speak to them in the quiet moments as well as in moments of chaos. Soften their hearts and make them true servant leaders. Let them know deep in their souls that only with and through you is the victory won, and only through your power is our city made whole. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Next is additions, deletions, amendments, or changes to the agenda.
I have one.
Councilmember McKenzie?
Yeah, I'd like to move item letter S on the agenda to replace it. Well, not to replace it, but to move it to the first to A. Just in consideration of some of the people that we have that are concerned about that. I'd like to handle that earlier in the meeting. So my request is to move S up and let it be the first thing on the agenda tonight.
Any other additions, deletions, or amendments? Dr. Adediran?
Yes. I'd like to take out H as in E.
I'm sorry? What-
Take out item number H as in him.
6H.
Yes. And
Remove
then,
item 6H?
Yes. And then 6J.
Remove item 6H, which is consideration on and action to approve collateral assignment of station agreement by Clean Energy to Riverside Credit Management. And then item
6J.
6J, which is consideration of and action on a request to purchase a fire department command vehicle.
And also 6R as in Raymond.
Consideration on and action on a request to approve a moratorium on warehouses and any projects, including semi-truck storage, drop yard, and/or trailer parking. Okay. Item 6H, 6J, is that right? And 6R. And moving item 6S, consideration on an action of requests for the naming of new streets in the 6 West development after Ivy League HBCUs to item 6A. Any other additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move for, is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that is unanimous.
Next is approval of the agenda.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that is unanimous as well.
Next is approval of the minutes. The first session is special call meeting minutes from January 5th, 2024.
Is there a motion?
No, I don't have a motion. I do have a, okay, someone can.
Motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of second. Item 4B.
Next is special call meeting minutes from January 22nd, 2024.
Is there a motion? Hearing none, we'll move to item 5.
Next is citizen remarks. And if you excuse me, I have to go get the tally 1 second. My apologies. The first person is Jay Edwards, 830 Westview Drive, to discuss Bill Evans Field.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, and department heads. My name is Jay Edwards, or Javaro Edwards. I'm a class of '92 Morehouse graduate, and currently sit on the Board of Trustees for the college, and also I am the National Alumni President. As a representative of the school, I'm excited to hopefully explore the opportunity to partner with College Park, the City of College Park, and Bill Evans Field, and make it the home of the Morehouse College Maroon Tiger baseball team, along with Marquise Grissom Baseball Association. As a neighbor of the College Park community, Morehouse is well positioned to partner and invest in such a well-rooted and historic community. It is well known that when colleges and universities invest with purpose, in purposeful ways with local communities, everybody wins. There appears to be some synergy with the college and College Park. So I think it puts us in a uniquely positioned opportunity here for us to become the major occupants of Bill Evans Field with MGBA. Some background: I played baseball at Morehouse, helped bring the baseball team back, and when we became a NC2A Division II baseball program again, we landed at Bill Evans Field in 1993 and 94 and made it our home field. As a young man coming through Morehouse and then coaching at that time, it was wonderful. Our communities were able to connect and made some great relationships. While with the proper investment, on any given weekend, thousands of young athletes from College Park, neighboring communities, and from across the nation could showcase their talents. And furthermore, the events that can be hosted at Bill Evans Complex for youth and amateur sports can create a deeper engagement point for the entire community. With us having the housing authority right across the street, having young kids of color see young men of color playing baseball in their community, just having to walk over to the field, the points of engagement, I think would be wonderful. For them to see it from a preschool and take them all the way up through commencement would be wonderful. So we look forward to that opportunity. One of the partners that we are with is Marquise Grissom, who runs Marquise Grissom Baseball Association. His roots in the College Park community go back from when he was 7 years old, and now he's still in that capacity, giving back to the community. So I will yield what's remaining of my time to bring up Marquis Grissom to talk about how our partnership will work in tandem with hopefully being the main occupant at Bill Evans Field.
And Mr. Grissom did sign in on the sign-in sheet, as well as Antonio Grissom.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Marquis Grissom, and been in the baseball space here at College Park for the last 18 years. I've been blessed enough to start my own organization and fund it as well. So our organization consists of a tutorial program focused on math and language art, SAT, ACT prep. We partner with PNC Banking to spearhead our financial literacy program. And we do also have a tutorial program, which is right here in the College Park area, which is free for all of our kids. We also partner with the Atlanta Braves to run their RBI program. So we have a connection to over 800 kids through the RBI program. And also at the rec program since 2020, we've partnered with you guys at Zup Park here at Bill Evans. And we have a total of 400 kids that came through Zup Park in the last 3 years. So we're well-rooted and well-grounded here in the city of College Park. That was my passion coming forth when I first got started here 18 years ago. And we've been blessed to be over the $4 million mark in scholarship dollars in the last 18 years. Thank you.
Did Antonio Grissom have additional comments? No? Okay. Next, I have Tina Hill, 3515 Parkview Drive.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and department heads. I really want to applaud the efforts and actions of the new council in addressing and completing numerous actions already, not even 60 days. From extending citizen comment time to adding 15 police vehicles to the fleet, from improving IT security, to even addressing curbside recycling. Hallelujah, and thank you. I also applaud the council's taking efforts to improve communication between City Council and our mayor. For example, meeting with the former Atlanta Mayor, Shirley Franklin, in efforts to identify ways to communicate better and move College Park forward. I appreciate the synergy of our new council and encourage you, don't lose your energy, keep moving forward. We really appreciate it. I'm going to quote you, Mayor, during our Black History program, quote, "We must use collective action and resilience to move forward with unity, collaboration, and empowerment at the forefront of our endeavors," unquote. I do hope and I pray daily that our mayor and council will unite and collaborate. I can only imagine how much we can accomplish if we're working together. In tonight's agenda, the new A was S, the potential naming of new streets, and I'm going to say new streets within the 6 West development using historically Black college and university names and trailblazers from our displaced African American community, the site where 6 West is going to be developed, a community that was robust and vital. This renaming is very appropriate in my eyes. FOA, the Preserving of History of African Americans, holds meetings, and they are open to the public, and I encourage the public to come. They're working with historians to provide information to preserve and honor the memories, the lives, and livelihoods of families who lived, professionals who lived and thrived in our city. It's exciting to listen and learn at these meetings, and I encourage everyone to attend. You will have a better perspective and an understanding of the significance of naming the new 6 West streets after these trailblazers. In addition, our historically Black colleges and universities develop top executives and worldwide leaders who historically impacted and continue to significantly impact our world, to include Martin Luther King Jr., Vice President Kamala Harris, Thurgood Marshall, Langston Hughes, Oprah Winfrey, John Thompson, very high businessman, and my pastor, the Reverend Dr. Senator Raphael Warnock, who's still preaching just about every Sunday and is in the Senate, to name just a few, and my grandson, who's at Hampton University. Investors and businesses will be honored to build on streets named for HBCUs. And I'm excited to live in a city that would honor not only Princeton, Cambridge, and Harvard, but potentially Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Hampton, and Morgan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, I have Cassandra Bell, 4690 Yates Road, to discuss naming of the streets in 6 West.
Good evening. Could you please could you make sure that you're talking into the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just pull the mic down for me. Thank you, ma'am.
No disrespect to the lady that just passed, but that sounds like the city of Atlanta. I was born and raised in College Park. And I feel that these people that will be, if they was going to Sandy Springs, if they was going to anywhere else, they would accept those streets that was already named. You know, like, I can't take once they start developing, I can't take well, let me go back. My girlfriend, she said, Belle, you always bragging on College Park. I said, cause College Park's something to brag on. I'm from College, and I do brag on College Park. When they bought College Park out, I went over in the neighborhood and I dug up the flowers and I dug up the trees where the people who had raised me, the people I had grew up with, and I was living in public housing. I was the president of Lotta Miller Homes. I dug that stuff up and brought it where I live because I didn't want to lose my people. You see what I'm saying? I didn't want to lose my identity. So with all this coming in, I can't say that's where I lived. And I'm proud of College Park. I brag all the time. You know, but with this new stuff coming in, I can't say that. I won't even know where I'm from if all this coming. I mean, we got a lot of changes that's here, but I would like for you all, Vesta ain't changing, Ruby ain't changing, so why should Rose change? Why should Princeton change? Why should Harvard? Why should, I just feel like I be the what they call it, the dinosaur. I won't have any identity. And I'm still in College Park. I'm 60, I'll be 63 in June, and I've been in College Park all my life. So what they talking about taking is my life. So I'm asking you guys if y'all would, let's keep College Park, College Park. Because if you never lived, and I don't know if any of y'all other than Gay may be originally from College Park. People from, Gus Thornhill said when he have a funeral from East Point, he don't worry about the people. But when he have a funeral from College Park show up and show out. We support each other. And I'm just asking that College Park remains College Park. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Next, I have 3 signees from FOA. So that's 9 minutes total.
Good evening to the mayor and councilman and ladies and heads of government. My name is Craig Everhart, and I come on behalf of preserving the heritage of the original African Americans of College Park. On behalf of the president, Gloria Abdullah. She's not able to be here tonight, so I wanted to read a letter that she put together for this specific committee, and it reads as follows. Good evening, Mayor Motley Broom and council persons. I am Gloria Robinson Abdullah, chairman of FOA. I am accompanied this evening by 4 members and people who once lived in the community now known as 6 West. I would like to address the street renaming that is on the agenda. Just for a little history, African Americans, pioneering families settled in the area now known as 6 West in the mid-1890s when the city was being established as Manchester and subsequently College Park. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research volume titled Race and Schooling in the South from the 1880s through 1950, cites that illiteracy for African Americans in the South during the 1890s was 60.7%. By the 1900s, illiteracy among African Americans in the South had went down to 48%. Each following decade, the percentage of illiteracy continued to decrease. Now, historically, black colleges and universities founded in Atlanta post-slavery provided African Americans in the surrounding cities access to an education that was denied to them during slavery. African Americans settled in College Park attended HBCUs such as Atlanta University, now Clark Atlanta University, Morris Brown, Morehouse, and Spelman, then returned to the community and educated its adults and children. Education provided vital resources for the advancement of this community. Being that one of the city's founding premises is to acknowledge colleges and knowing that the HBCUs played a pivotal role in the city's African-American community, we do not oppose the renaming of the streets associated with 6 West to HBCUs. However, we do not support renaming all streets citing HBCUs only. Our concern is that it was the people who created this community. Some made noteworthy contributions to the city, the state, and this country. During some of the most turbulent times in history, they broke through barriers, opened doors. They should be recognized as well. We ask this council to consider renaming some of the streets in the 6 West development to honor some of those trailblazers from that era that made significant contributions. We ask that four be allowed to spearhead the process of renaming and honoring those individuals. And as a side note, as an African-American man who came to the city of College Park in the 60s and resided in the community until the 80s, I think it's commendable of the city of College Park to recognize the black institutions that provide the majority of the educators who graced the halls of Eva Thomas, Beavers, and Avery, and provide a means of education for many of the residents of College Park. And it also provides a means of honoring the trailblazers who paved the way for the community to become the great place to live that it evolved into. Thank you for your consideration, and thank you for the motion to go forth with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Myra Burnett, 415 Stone Arbor Court, South Fulton, to discuss naming of streets.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and department heads. It is my understanding that you were discussing the legislation regarding the street naming at your meeting this evening, and I wish to comment on that legislation. I come to you today as a 39-year employee of Spelman College to share a brief history of historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, and their importance to the community at large. Please note that I am sharing facts and my own opinions. Spelman College does not have a position on this issue. HBCUs are critically important in the education of black doctorate recipients in STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math, representing 8 of the top 10 institutions in the country where black doctorate recipients completed their first degrees. Though HBCUs comprise only 3% of the nation's higher education institutions, HBCUs granted 13% of all bachelor's degrees awarded to black students in 2021. As of 1991, more than 80% of all black Americans who received degrees in medicine and dentistry were trained at the 2 traditionally black institutions of medicine and dentistry, Howard University and Meharry Medical College. Today, HBCUs produce 26% of black graduates in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, despite representing only around 3% of all American college. So we outproduce our numbers in STEM field once again. HBCUs have provided undergraduate training for 3/4 of all black persons holding a doctorate degree, 3/4 of all black officers in the armed forces, and 4/5 of all black federal judges. HBCUs provide nearly twice as much college access to low-income students than other colleges and universities. Across all HBCUs, about 70% of students receive the Pell Grant, a federal grant for college expenses for low-income students, compared to 32% at non-HBCUs. Given all these accomplishments of HBCUs and their demonstrated value to the region and national economy, I enthusiastically support naming streets in New College Park development 6 West for HBCUs. Spelman College, for example, about 7 miles up Main Street, is the #1 HBCU in the nation, graduating women who go on to a variety of leadership positions in corporate America, public service, education, politics, and law, among other disciplines. Spelman was founded 143 years ago by 2 white women missionaries from Massachusetts who wanted to provide newly freed slave women with basic education and skills. Their efforts were supported financially by John D. Rockefeller.
That is your time, ma'am.
All right. For these reasons, I encourage you to acknowledge
Hold
the
on,
outstanding.
hold on, ma'am, hold on, just hold on for 1 moment. There's a motion to extend your time.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Carn to extend time, and a second by Councilmember McKenzie. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous.
All right, thank you. Spelman was supported financially by John D. Rockefeller, who regarded the work as worthwhile. Then and now, Spelman represents a commitment to collaborative efforts to promote common interest. Other local HBCUs, such as Morehouse College and Clark Atlanta University, have similar histories, and many HBCU graduates remain right here in Georgia to strengthen our economy with new businesses and other professional talents. For these reasons, I encourage you to acknowledge the outstanding work and promising future of HBCUs with the distinct honor of naming new College Park streets for our premier colleges and universities. One might say that such recognition is long overdue, and thank you for extension of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Ames?
Next, I have Betsy Eastman to discuss naming of streets and city firings.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Betsy Eastman on Rugby Avenue. Tonight, we learned that VITA owes the city $9.7 million. And we would get that money back when the property is sold. So we're working, obviously VITA's working right now with Stream in order to solicit investors for that property. To me, that's what the priority should be. I really have no agenda in the naming of streets. You know, if these are new streets, they can be named or renamed. But if we have investors coming in, they might have an opinion about something. But rather than focusing on naming streets, why aren't we focusing on the business at hand? We have now fired another individual today. So our Director of Economic Development, who could actually help us grow the city, was fired, a female, white female. We also lost the HR Director and Communications Director. We have 3 pending lawsuits for discrimination against the city of College Park from 3 black females. I just am beginning to wonder, I mean, clearly the council wants to make a statement. You're a new council, that's great. But we need to run a city, and we need individuals to run the city, and our new city manager can't do all these jobs. And the optics look great, and clearly you've developed a PR program to get different schools to come in and talk about the reasoning to name their streets. But I heard a woman say she lives here. There are businesses that are on some of those streets that they'd be encumbered by changing the name. So rather than focusing on just optics, can we focus on business? And can we focus on what is actually happening here in the city? Thank you.
Next, I have Grace Lunsford, 3398 Washington, to discuss misgovernance.
Everyone, good evening. I'm Grace Lunsford. I live on Washington. I'm in Ward 1. Thank you, Councilperson McKenzie, for moving up the street thing, because clearly, if we just take a moment to look at the full room, plus the 50 people watching the live stream, it's an important issue. I'm here to speak about misgovernance because, honestly, this whole past month, and also probably into December, I've had this feeling of almost a cloud, an existential almost threat, and I couldn't figure out what it is. I have challenges and stress happening in my family, and I specifically stepped away from leadership in this city this past year for that. And I thought maybe it was just it, but really, I think it's that my heart is hurting for this city. And a lot of it has to do with a lack of transparency, because when things aren't fully put forth, we are left to assume. And assumptions can sometimes go in the wrong direction. And so I just want to encourage you, thank you for putting together now on the city's website where you can put in a comment, following up on a comment. I do really appreciate that. I've heard that from other people, but there are often no response under those comments too. And so I just want to encourage you to make sure that everything is clearly answered. I do feel like we have had a misuse of public funds, specifically $281,000 that had already been approved for and supported by this community for the Finding the Flint project. And I do know that there's a lot of effort going into trying to keep that project moving forward, but I do feel like it was a misuse to take those funds away, and then in the same breath, putting forth some objectives that were achieved this year was saving $500,000. And I don't specifically know where that $500,000 came from, but it's one of those things that has been an accomplishment, and yet there's $281,000 that could have been maintained to keep the Finding the Flint project, and a lot of reputation and a lot of work, and frankly, freeing up people who are now busy trying to restore this project. Additionally, the culture of firings and resignations. Y'all, this is back to that heart hurting and the community hurting at large, and us not knowing why this is happening and really, really feeling it. And also, this also goes back to a lack of community engagement. College Park Main Street Association, I served on for 4 years. I know the people who are now on it as well. I've reached out to them to see if anybody had seen this preliminary map of the streets. None of them had. I reached out to people on the zoning committee. None of them had seen it either.
That is your time.
Okay.
I move that we give Grace more time.
Second.
There's a
Thank
motion from Councilmember McKenzie to extend time, a second by Councilmember Carn. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I will be brief. My children go to Resurgence Hall Charter School down the street. My kindergarten classroom is not Miss Mahoney's class, it is Spelman College. My second grade class is Duke University. I am all for acknowledging HBCUs. I think that that's great. But back to the optics, can we bring the community together? Can we bring those past residents? Can we bring these committees to weigh in? We're not breaking ground tomorrow. Can we bring the businesses who will have to change their paperwork to the table and consider how we can make this work? Because perhaps it's can be a mix of things. And with the community fully supporting it, that optic goes much further. So I just want to encourage that because, to echo again, that collective action, the word is collective. And it's more than the 5 of you working together. It's this whole room working together. And that's kind of move the ship forward or the ship is going to sink. Sometimes things have to become worse before they get better. And while I have heard that many a time, I also don't think that that is necessarily the need. I do believe that we can every day take the choice to move forward and move towards better. Please bring this community into the conversation. Please do not vote on naming the streets tonight, but present it for more discussion. And then that way I think we can continue to choose moving forward versus letting things become worse. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace.
Next, I have Brian Hightower, 3166 Cedardale Drive, to discuss naming of streets.
Good evening.
name is Brian Hightower, and I'm a product of the College Park diaspora, created by the development and growth of the world's largest airport. I have benefited from everything this great city has offered me. I grew up in the black community of College Park, bordered by Camp Creek Parkway, College Street, Fairway Drive, and Virginia Avenue. It's Black History Month, and there's so much history on the streets of Harvard, Yale, Rhodes, Princeton, Columbia, and many more in College Park. These streets had black churches, stores, barber shops, salons, floors, funeral homes, schools, and most importantly, black home ownership. It is a proud history that is identified by those streets for those of us who grew up, lived, played as children, raised families, worshiped, and were educated. Those streets are important and mean a lot to me, a lot to the College Park originals. I told my friends I grew up with about changing the street names, and they were in shock. They were like, no, and why? These street names are all we have left to remind us of our once great thriving community. Let's keep College Park history and save our streets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Jetty Burnett, 3215 Cascade Road, to discuss naming of streets.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and City Council. Thank you. It's really an honor to be here. My name is Dr. Jetty Burnett, and I am a physician and surgeon, an eye physician and surgeon. I've been here in College Park for more than 40 years, and I practice along with my husband, Dr. Shelby Wilkes, who's also here tonight. And if I'm not too long-winded, might have a little bit to share my time. But I am here to speak in favor of naming the streets, some of the newer streets and existing streets, as it may be, for the historically black colleges and universities and the trailblazers in that area of College Park and 6 West. I'm a proud graduate of 2 of the schools that bear the names already of Vassar College and Harvard University. And I think that there would be no stigma in sharing some of the recognition in College Park with the stellar HBCUs, especially the ones that we have here in Atlanta. I think our object is to recognize achievement and to recognize what these institutions do for people in their lives, as the gentleman mentioned, to help fostering an improvement in all of their lives. Our 2 sons, Martin and Andrew, graduated from Woodward Academy, and they went from Woodward Academy to an HBCU, Hampton University. One is now a physician, and the other one is a minister. And so I think that all schools have a place in the lives of individuals, and the HBCUs also train people of other races as well. They're not totally exclusive. Most of the black professionals, as has been mentioned, and business leaders are trained at the HBCUs and institutions around the country, and the contributions of these institutions far exceeds their appreciation and their funding. So in summary, I believe it would only enhance our wonderful community, of which I've been a part for over 40 years, if we allow ourselves to honor these hardworking institutions, 6 of which are in our own metropolitan area. And lastly, I'd like to say what I think a wonderful and welcoming and inclusive view of College Park would be given by our conventioners and the people who use our hotels and restaurants if they could see that we've been in the forefront of acknowledging these stellar institutions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I have a few minutes. I don't know if Shelby wants to say a few seconds maybe.
What's your name, sir, for the record?
Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening. I'm Dr. Shelby Wilkes, the mayor, councilman, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to speak on behalf of the naming of the newer streets after HBCU. I've been fortunate that my wife and I served as co-chairs of the Society and Education Committee when our sons were at Woodward Academy. I'm a graduate of an HBCU, Alcorn State University. As you may or may not know, the first U.S. African-American senator, Hiram Revels, was the first president of Alcorn State University. Medgar Evers went to Alcorn State University. The airport in Jackson, Mississippi is now named after Medgar Evers. Change is significant when you're doing the right thing. When you're working in the best interest of your community, change must take place. I've been fortunate as well. I was accepted at Yale University to do a residency in ophthalmology, which is eye surgery. But I talked to my colleagues, they said, you should go to the Mayo Clinic. I'm a graduate of the Mayo Clinic. This is where I became an eye surgeon. I'm also a graduate of Harvard University in the medical school. I did my fellowship. That's what's made me a vitreoretinal surgeon. Putting that aside, locally, I've served as president of the Atlanta Medical Association and president of the Georgia State Medical Association. These are old organizations which have been pillars in the community. I co-authored the book on the history of the Atlanta Medical Association from the history, covered a brief period from 1890 to 2012. I think in the interest of inclusion and creating not just the optics, it's the reality. This is Black History Month. This ought to be taught every day, every week, because I had the opportunity to go to University Home Baptist Church where Dr. Gerald Durley was the pastor over near the AU Center. He had been asking me many, many times, said, Dr. Wilkes, please come over. It was so heartwarming when I went to his office, a Black boy, 7 years old. I had my white coat on. He ran back downstairs and said, y'all, you gotta come see this. I see my first Black doctor. What would that do to the younger students in College Park, younger citizens, if they saw the names of these places, whether it's the HBCU, which I strongly support, or names of physicians in this community? Dr. Burnett and I mentioned that we've been in this community over 40 years. We also have a practice in Atlanta as well. I want to commend you all for having the foresight and the wisdom to look beyond your own tradition. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's about 20 seconds left on the timer. Do you guys wish to extend the council session comments?
We got a lot of stuff on the agenda.
Hearing none. Well, has the list been exhausted? Has the list been exhausted?
No, and I also have email comments.
So who's the next? They've got 20 seconds. Next person.
They don't have anything now.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
Well,
Okay.
I'm fine with hearing from Mr. Brady since he's here, and we cut it at that.
Mr. Brady.
I mean, Mr. Brady, Evans.
We have a list of people who have not, the list has not been exhausted yet.
There's 2 more people on the list that have not.
So what's the
If
will
we're
of
out
the
of town,
council?
then we're out of town. Okay, all right.
All right, so we will move forward.
The next item on the agenda is consideration of an action on a request for a special event permit regarding the Spender District event to be held on May 5th, 2024, from 8:00 a.m. to 8:00 p.m.
Madam Clerk, I do believe that item S has been moved up.
I'm sorry, you are absolutely correct. The first item on the agenda consideration of an action on a request for the naming of the new streets in the 6 West development after the Ivy League HBCUs. This item is being requested by Councilwoman Tracy Arnold. This is not a budgeted item. This affects wards 1 and 2.
Is there a motion?
Motion
What is your motion, sir?
to approve renaming the streets in the 6 West development after HBCUs and legacy trailblazing residents.
Second.
Councilmember Carn made a motion and Councilmember McKenzie seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote.
No, I have discussion. I do have discussion.
Councilmember McKenzie, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to just say to the persons, I want to thank everyone for coming up and speaking today. I wanted to make sure that you were heard and that you will be a part of this decision tonight. And I want to thank those who have reached out to me and let their voices be made known. I've spoken and I've heard from several people regarding this subject, and the vote that I will cast tonight is based on the majority of the persons that I spoke to. I do believe that this opportunity to name these streets after HBCUs as well as trailblazers is a very important move. I ran on a platform of inclusivity, inclusion, equity, and diversity. And I think this is one of the ways that we are able to, as a city, to bring that to pass. Some persons will say, well, I think that we should leave things the way they were. But we have to understand that 133 years ago, when this city was established and the streets were put in place, African Americans had absolutely no say-so regarding what their streets would be named and where they would even live. The African Americans that lived in this area that is where the streets will be renamed in 6 West could not even cross the street to come into certain parts of the city unless they were working there. And there were places that you could not be after dark if you wanted to make it home. So this is a very important move on behalf of the city of College Park. I want to commend Councilwoman Arnold for having the forthright to even come up with this. But I also want this to be known as well, that this vote tonight, we are not voting on the names of the streets this evening. We are not voting on the names of the trailblazers. That will be a community effort. In fact, this council, in my opinion, if I have anything to do with it, will have nothing to do with the names of the trailblazers. That will be an entirely up to the community, because we can't make that decision. And so this will be a community decision. This is just the beginning. All this is tonight is a vote to move forward and to say to the city of College Park, this is going to be done. The particulars, the details will be ironed out through community involvement. And so I just wanted to share that so that we understand, and that when we leave out of this place tonight, we are all understanding what this vote is about and what this vote is not about.
Councilmember Carn. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate it. I appreciate the clapping during public comment, but if we're just going to move through comments here. So Councilmember Carn, go right ahead.
Education, legacy, and inclusivity. I think that's what you call progress for any city. And I'm glad we're here and we're able to do this for our entire community. So I think it's a good thing.
Anything to add, Councilmember Arnold?
No, nothing other than just thanking my colleagues for listening to the concept that we are presenting today and being open-minded and understanding that HBCUs have given our communities a lot. And I am thankful for those individuals who came up and spoke about being able to participate in HBCUs for their education. Can you hear me now? Okay. And so thank you again for listening to the concept, and we will be soliciting input from the community as far as the trailblazing portions of the residential area streets. And again, thank you.
Councilmember Gay?
I'll just make a few comments, and I too echo my colleagues. Thank you, Councilwoman Arnold, for the legislation. I just wanted to chime in on a few of the comments. I too agree that approximately $30 to $50 million has been spent on 6 West. And as of today, I don't know one development that's over there. So I concur that although street name is significant, it's iconic, we do need to be about the business of developing over there and make good use of taxpayers' dollars that's been spent over there. Secondly, I too want to make sure to the record that we don't minimize the importance of the streets that are there. That I hear people saying newer streets. I don't know what all the streets are, but I will say I'm a product of HBCU Tuskegee. My son went to Morehouse. He also went to Columbia University, got his master's. I can go on and on. My daughter goes to Ole Miss. My other son, Roman, goes to Jackson State, so I get it. And we went to Fulton County schools. We didn't go to Woodward. But that being said, those white or major hill colleges played a pivotal role, and as someone echoed, we wouldn't have had the HBCUs had it not been for whites, the Rockefellers, the Morehouses. Those were white people. So I would just want to say for the record, as we talk about name changes and all of that, make no mistake about it of the contributions that we all have to play for all of us to be here today. And I don't want us to ever take that for granted. Thirdly, I too agree that as developers come here, yeah, it's great to know that we pay tribute and homage to HBCUs. I get that too. But if somebody's going to spend, $100 million, they probably want to name the street what they want to name it. So we got to kind of like balance all that in. But thank you all for y'all comments, and have a safe trip home.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have one more thing. I also want.
Councilmember McKenzie, go right ahead.
Yes, I also want the public to understand that there was a concept map that circulated through the community. It was not a part of this package, the agenda packet, and that is, we're not voting on that. That was just a schematic to kind of look at what this might look like. The borders of 6 West and the streets are still yet to be determined. So you don't even pay that any mind wherever you got it from. That is not a part of this vote tonight.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Item 6B.
Next is consideration of an action on a request for a special event permit regarding the Spinner District event to be held on May 5th, 2024, from 8:00 a.m. to 8:00 p.m. This is being requested by the City Clerk, Shavala Ames. Event is to be held throughout the city in wards 1 and 3. This is not a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
I move to accept.
I second.
Councilmember McKenzie's made a motion to approve. Councilmember Arnold has seconded. Any discussion?
I have discussion.
Councilmember McKenzie?
I think this is a great program. We've been having this for the past, I just want to look at what this is not the first year. So this is not our first rodeo. And I'm so appreciative to the ATL district for continuing to put this on. It brings more people into our city, and people use our restaurants. It's just a great opportunity for the community. And I spoke with Mercedes earlier today, and I just want to also thank you, because the biggest concern that I have had over the past few years of this program was from my seniors who live in the housing authority in the Lindsay and the Longino buildings. And the concerns that they had, which they also would express if they knew this was on the agenda tonight, is just making sure that we have a plan for them so that while the race is going on, that they can leave from their parking lots, get to church on Sunday, and be able to get back. And I want to thank you for coming up with a very, very detailed plan for that, and even including lunch. So that is the only concern that I have behind this. Just wanted to make sure our people were taken care of, and I want to thank you for being thoughtful.
Any further discussion?
Let's ride.
Hearing none, move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you.
The next item is consideration of an action on a request for a special event permit from Woodward Academy to host an alumni event to be held on March 11, 2024 at Woodward Academy from 4 o'clock p.m. to 12 o'clock midnight. This item is being requested by the City Clerk, Shavala Ames. This event is to be held in Ward 3. This is not a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That is unanimous.
The next item is a second reading and adoption of Ordinance 2024-03 to amend Article Number 6 of the city's charter to effectively separate the municipal court from the police department.
This is a second reading. Any questions for the city attorney? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That is unanimous.
The next request is a consideration of an action on a request to renew services provided by Amadeus, the licensor provider that enables GICC Sales Department's users to access our Delphi and Salesforce meeting software. This item is being requested by Mercedes Miller, Executive Director of the GICC Gateway Arena and Golf Course. This is a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
I move.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That is unanimous.
Thank you.
The next item is a consideration of an action on a request for approval of Resolution Number 2024-03, amending the budget for fiscal year 2024 for the general fund, special revenue funds, and enterprise funds. This item is being requested by Althea PhilordBradley, Director of Finance and Accounting.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. Item 6F.
The next item on the agenda is a consideration of an action on a request to approve the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of College Park and Fulton County Community Action of Authority.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
All right, so council members McKenzie, Arnold, and Gay are in favor. Councilmember Carn abstained. The motion passes.
The next item is consideration of an action on a request for the emergency remediation expenses for water backup at the Federal Aviation Administration building located at 1701 Columbia Avenue. This item is being requested by Brecca Carter, Director of Airport and Governmental Affairs. This is not a budgeted item. This affects Ward 3.
Is there a motion? Motion. Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. All those in favor? I'm sorry, I apologize. Any discussion?
I have a couple questions.
Councilmember Gay, we'll go right ahead.
What prioritized this property over our other properties such as Coca-Cola that more dependent on water? Why the FAA gets priority?
We had to shut the water off. I mean, the building was closed.
Can you talk into the mic, Ron?
Oh.
Thank you.
We had to,
And could you identify yourself for the
oh,
record?
I'm Ron Wilkerson, Colliers International. We had to turn the water off. We were flooding terribly bad. And there's probably, at that particular day, was 800 people were there. So we had to rally quickly to get this thing fixed and back online.
So what are we doing? We providing them a storage tank or something?
No, what we had to do is we had a storm drain that was blocked by tree roots.
Okay.
And we had to get in there and dig it out. And
Okay.
it was a major job. but we got it back, we got it all fixed, everything's back online, and the employees are back.
I see, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, that is unanimous. Item H has been removed.
The next item is consideration of an action on a request to purchase a 2024 Ford F-150 truck and a transit van from Wade Ford in the amount of $109,815, requested by Michelle Johnson, Director of Recreation and Cultural Arts, and this will benefit wards 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
Motion with discussion.
There's always discussion. Is there a second? Hearing none, motion dies for lack of a second.
The next item is consideration of an action on a request for approval to purchase 2 power stretchers for the new transport-capable ambulances being manufactured. This is a budgeted item requested by Fire Chief Wade Elmore.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second?
With discussion,
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Go right ahead.
what is meant, Chief, by partially budgeted?
As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to ask.
Okay, no worries. We can just email me.
No, we have it. I have it. It's, we didn't budget the whole amount for the stretchers.
Okay.
And what they're gonna do is the company's gonna pay half of it.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that is unanimous.
The next item is consideration of an action on a request to review Hemsworth contract renewal. This is a request from Chief Information Officer Michael Hicks. The scope of this contract affects all wards citywide. This is a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to motion to terminate the contract.
Second?
Motion to terminate by Councilmember McKenzie. Is there, and there's a second by Councilmember Gay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of termination?
Aye.
That is unanimous amongst those present, as Councilmember Carn has stepped out.
The next item is consideration on an action of a request for funding approval, Fiscal Year 2023 Consolidated Appropriations Act, Environmental Protection Agency Community Grant Program application for stormwater upgrades. This item is being requested by Dean Buhari, City Engineer. This affects all wards throughout the city.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that is unanimous.
The next item is consideration on an action of a request to approve vendor MKC Enterprise, a Clean Earth, as the City of College Park's 2024 hazardous waste collection and removal vendor. This is being requested by Sanitation Superintendent Cedric Hand. This service will be available at the Division of Public Works for the city. This is a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
Discussion with motion.
There's always discussion. Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Discussion, go right ahead, Councilmember Gay.
Oh, when you say that's all, that's okay. Sir,
Yes, sir.
I just had one question.
Sure.
Is this on call?
No, this is waste removal throughout the whole city. It's done once a year, and it's been taking place for.
When we do our hazardous waste, this our hazardous waste day? This our hazardous waste day? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
It's unanimous.
The next item is consideration on an action of a request to pay Jewel of the South, Inc. for an emergency repair of an 8-inch sanitary sewer system and 6-inch sewer service line in the amount of $38,225. This is requested by Water and Sewer Superintendents Timothy Lewis and Antwan Dorsey. This is a budgeted item. This affects all wards.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second? Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. That is unanimous.
Thank
The next item is consideration of an action on a request to approve and review the updated version of the intergovernmental agreement for the provision of animal control services between County of Fulton, Georgia, and the City of College Park, Georgia. This is being requested by City Manager Dr. Emmanuel Idadarian, Interim City Manager. This agreement will service wards 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
The next item is consideration of an action on a request to approve a replacement purchase of sanitation unit number 498 for a 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 4x4 1500 from Griffin Chevrolet under state contract in the amount of $48,760, which includes a delivery service charge of $160 under 2022-2024 current budget. This item is being requested by Sanitation Superintendent Cedric Hand. This request will support sanitation services throughout the city in all wards. This is a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. All those in favor? I'm sorry, excuse me. I apologize. Any discussion?
Question.
Go right ahead, Councilmember Gay.
We got a lot of new trucks. Are we about got enough for the fleet? Are we gonna keep getting trucks, or we about?
Most of the sanitation trucks are, Councilman, the city hasn't bought any new truck for sanitation for quite some time now.
Okay.
And,
So-
this needs to be purchased.
So we'll be getting more trucks.
Yes, yes. No, not new. The old ones have been auctioned off.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous.
The next item is consideration on an action of a request for modifications to the annual contract for Warren Bond Photography in the amount of $20,000. This item is being requested by Interim City Manager Dr. Emmanuel Idadarian. This is not a budgeted item. This affects all wards throughout the city.
Motion.
Second.
I haven't called for it yet. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Any discussion?
I have discussion. I just.
Go right ahead, Councilmember McKenzie.
Thank you very much. I just truly appreciate Mr. Bond and the services that he's provided for the city for decades. And I just want to say that your whole entire team, I see you back there, Mr. Bond, is amazing. And there's been a lot of work that they have done. And even with this $20,000 increase, it is still nowhere near what really they should have for the services that they provide. I think that Mr. Bond has been very, very moderate and conservative in this ask, and but I just wanted to say publicly that we appreciate you, we appreciate your service to the city, and we appreciate your team. Thank you so much, Mr. Bond.
Any further discussion?
You want to change this amount to 40?
I'll change it. Now, you know.
Hold on, there's a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion?
Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
We were just, okay, where are we at? We had a motion?
There's a motion and a second.
Can you want to change your motion?
No, it's okay. No, I've already talked to him about it. He won't
Wait,
ask for more.
Hold on. Councilmember Gay, do you have any further discussion?
No, I don't.
All right. Any additional discussion?
Now, Warren,
Wait, hold on. Councilmember Carn, you shot at somebody in the audience.
Okay.
So, if you wish to, Mr. Bond.
Okay.
I was gonna tell him, you're aware that amount is in pesos now.
For any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. That is unanimous.
The next item is Consideration of an action on a request for direction on the selection of a date and location for the Mayor and City Council 2024 retreat. This item is being requested by Interim City Manager Dr. Emmanuel Adedarian. This is not a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
So moved. I'd like to motion that this retreat be held on March 1st through March 3rd, which is approximately 2 weeks from now.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion?
Yes, I have discussion. Anybody else have discussion?
Councilmember McKenzie, go right ahead.
The elephant in the room, which is obvious, is that we have a lot of work to do as a governing body. I'm hearing this over and over again, and even in response to public comments. A couple of weeks ago, myself and Councilman Carn and the mayor, we were privileged to have former Mayor Shirley Franklin, who had been watching from afar and had concerns about the conditions of College Park. We're doing amazing things up here, but it just doesn't look as good as it could be. And she took out the time with us because we could only meet, we would have had a quorum if we had had more council members. So we had 2 council members and the mayor to have a discussion. And there are a lot of people that care about, I heard optics come up, but optics do matter. It does matter how we look. But beyond how we look, what's important is how we behave. And I'm talking about not in front of you all. I'm talking about behind closed doors. And so my concern is that, and what I expressed to Mayor Franklin is I'm like, I'm not gonna say the name. I'm willing to do whatever necessary to ensure that we have a working relationship in this council. And normally the council would have a retreat, I think around July, but we can't wait till July. We need to do this as soon as possible, and it's my hope that every member of the governing body will make it a priority, because there is no communication. We don't have the communication that we need to have behind closed doors. The only time that this entire governing body communicates is when we are here. And this city is just too important for us to allow bickering or one particular person that may like to keep up mess, and I'm not going to say who it is. It could be somebody that's not in this governing body to get in the way of what needs to happen for College Park. So my concern and the urgency for this, and I'm so glad that Dr. Darian chose to put this on the agenda today, and that we would vote on this, not just something that we would do administratively, because we know things administratively don't always happen. But when we vote, we make a determination, a decision, and we're going to move forward with this. So I want to thank you, Doctor, for having the foresight, caring enough about this city and this governing body to make this urgent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I'll pass the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, first off, Mayor Pro Tem have a discussion, and I don't think I want to take the gavel. But here's what I want to say. I respectfully disagree. I absolutely disagree. We're sitting up here being our best selves. Everybody up here are immensely professional. Not only are they professional, but they're optimistic. This is nuisance. And I'm not going to take no responsibility that we don't look good. We look great. We got some people who don't want to see change. I don't see nobody from Ward 4 coming up here but one person, and they're going to come anyways. Not one of my constituents up here caring about any of this nonsense. They want their streets paved. They want beautification. They want their utility to be lowered. They can barely pay their tax. So I'm not going to sit up here and spend every night talking about because somebody mad or can't get along because a couple of people shooting out emails. Keep sending them. You're welcome to send them. But last thing I'm going to say is I don't mind going to a retreat. But we part-time. I can't just go all the time. You know, I have a family to take care of. I've been up here for 8 years. Ain't nobody wanted to do no retreat when we wasn't getting anything for 8 years. when we was never mayor pro tem, when we were getting 99% of the people voted in a block that way. Ain't nobody that did no retreat. So I'm not overly concerned about the comments from a certain group of constituencies. Get over it. Get over it. Matter of fact, come to Ward 4 and be part of our ward. Help us do some stuff. That's all I'm gonna say.
Any further discussion? Councilmember Arnold, can I turn the gavel over to you?
No, ma'am.
Do you wish to discuss?
No, I don't have anything to say.
Okay, all right, so Robert's rule says that if you don't have anything to say, then that's a reason to take.
I'm not taking the gavel. That is your responsibility. I've accepted my responsibility. The gavel is yours. Thank you.
I have more discussion.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie, go right ahead.
I hear what Councilman Gay is saying, but I still believe that it always helps to have a good working relationship with the people that you have to work with. Some of us will be up here for 4 years with each other, but when the way that we look infringes upon the business, the way our business is seen, it's a problem. So I still feel like a retreat will be help. I hope it will be helpful. I can't say that the conversation with Shirley Franklin was helpful, because even at the end of that conversation, even though Shirley made very good sense, what she asked to be done was not done. But I'm hoping that if we try one more time, maybe we will, as a body, be able to have a better working relationship. You can always improve. I don't care if you have the perfect relationship. There's always room for improvement.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
The next item is consideration of an action on a request to revise the Family and Medical Leave FMLA policy, section 7.4. This request is being sponsored by the Office of the City Manager. This is not a budgeted item. This does not affect any wards.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
The next item is City Attorney's Report,
Nothing this evening, Madam Clerk.
City Manager's Report.
Nothing today.
Dr. Adedirian, I have a question for you. The March 1st through 3rd date, did you have any discussion with anyone about that, or is that just something that came up tonight?
Just, it's something that I thought of. I thought all 6 of us should, get together. If city attorney can join us, that'll be fine.
I just.
Nobody, no council person got with me as to what date or whatever.
No, I'm just talking about the date, March 1st through 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor,
Hold on, I'm just asking Dr. Adedirian because this is his report. So I'm just trying to understand.
No council person asked me for anything. I just feel we need to be done, ASAP.
I wholeheartedly agree. I just hadn't heard that date, and so that's news to me, and just didn't have any opportunity to discuss being there on that date with those. That's right.
Point of order. We,
Councilmember Gay?
yes.
I had actually said something before that, Mayor, but I will yield to Councilman Gay.
No, I was just simply saying we're out of order here.
This is the city manager's report.
Yeah, but I didn't know. Oh, you did?
No.
I had a question for him during his report.
But he said he didn't have anything to.
I said I didn't have any comment when.
Exactly.
So I said I didn't have any comment.
We haven't moved on to the next item yet, so, sir, I do have questions. Where's have you set a location for the retreat?
Not yet, but it will be set.
Have you gotten a facilitator for that date?
I'm working on it
A point of order. I don't know. I think we need to yield to the attorney at this time. The city manager has not made a report, so he's being asked some questions. In the last meeting, he was badgered as well. Can you give us some clarification, city attorney, in terms of if there's no report made?
Yes, Councilwoman. Essentially, the amendment that the council made to the ordinance as relates to parliamentary procedures says that the mayor does not participate in the deliberations of the city council. We look at that narrowly, and deliberations would refer to items before the council for consideration. I think if the city manager has a report, I believe that any member of the governing body would be entitled to ask the city manager questions. I do think that it's telling that the city manager has no report, and so questions of the city manager when he has no report seems to be out of order.
Thank you. I just, and that's all I wanted to say, that if he has no report and we ask him questions that have to deal with agenda items that have already been discussed, that would appear to me to be out of order.
Are we moving on? Okay. Report of mayor and council. Mayor Motley Broom.
Thank you so much. And I would like to restate my continuing objections to Ordinance 2024-01 and the omnibus that was passed by this council on January 2nd of 2024. But I wanted to share some good news with the community about the Blue Sky Apartments that were going in at Old National Parkway and Godby Road. Received word this afternoon that they received their low-income housing tax credit from the state, so 180 affordable units will be going up at that corner, and that is fantastic news for the entirety of this community. Wanted to congratulate Francis Kennedy and the entirety of the Keep Georgia Beautiful staff for their recognition. They were at the Keep Georgia Beautiful Foundation Day down at the Capitol. They actually received recognition from the Governor's Circle. They received the Governor's Circle Award. So congratulations to them, and keep up the good work. Wanted to thank Techie Homes and Kimbrough Law for their vendor and job fair on February 13th of this year, and their continued efforts to keep on building that community that we deserve through workforce development and also their investments in College Park. Congratulations to the College Park Tumbleweeds and the Recreation and Cultural Arts Department for another successful tournament, the 65 Roses Invitational for cystic fibrosis. There were families throughout the community and beyond who came this weekend and saw everything that we have to offer, and we greatly appreciate all of the hard work that went into that as well. I also want to thank Mayor Franklin for sitting down with us. We did have a good conversation. She asked us to do one thing together, and I certainly made sure that we reached out to get on that 6 West Development Committee, because we've heard so many times that 6 West is so important and integral to our community. So I think that is something that we can all work on together. And that was the ask, and that is what I did. And so I'm looking forward to joining that committee as Dr. Adeniran is going to inform me of the next meeting. I want to thank the College Park Police Department and all of our community partners for another successful Senior Valentine's Social on the 9th. Still can't keep up. Can't keep up. I mean, I try, but they wear me out. But it's always such a great event, and it's because of all the hard work from every single person in the police department, and appreciate all of your efforts. Also want to thank Representative Nikema Williams and her team and the Frederick Douglass High School for giving our first responders love and recognition on Valentine's Day, because you deserve it every single day. But we certainly appreciate the Congresswoman's efforts in reaching out. It was also great to see council members Mackenzie and Arnold doing the same with our seniors and reaching out on Valentine's Day. And want to congratulate Councilmember Arnold for her selection onto the Bylaws Committee of the Clayton County Municipal Association. Also want to congratulate Mayor Marcy Fluellen of Lovejoy and Forest Park Mayor Angeline Butler for being president and vice president of the Clayton County Municipal Association. We're looking forward to a great year. Mayor Fluellen is hitting the ground running, and I'm really looking forward to her leadership because I think the Clayton County Municipal Association in particular has great heights to achieve, and I know that we can do it under her leadership. Want to let the community know about a food giveaway on February 23rd at 3557 Main Street, sponsored by Favor House. That is from 1 to 4 p.m. You can get additional information on our website or our social media channels. And early voting started today for the presidential preference primary, and it is going from today to March 8th. You can go to votecollegepark.com for particular details, but there is voting at the historic building, 3675 Auditorium Way. And if you are in Clayton County, you can vote at Virginia Gray at 1475 East Fayetteville Road in Riverdale. Our annual Easter egg hunt, which is a fantastic event, and it's always well attended by all of our little ones, is coming up on March 28th from 10:30 to 12:30 at the Bill Badgett Stadium. And so put that on your calendars. We are looking forward to the event, and it's always, I mean, I never know who's going to be the Easter Bunny, but it's always a great surprise. There were some questions about the Barrett Park restrooms. If you have particular questions about them, you can call 404-669-3778. They are getting close to opening. We are getting there. So there's a remote access entry pilot program that is part of those restrooms, and our buildings and grounds staff is in charge of that. Wanted to share that had an opportunity to join the National League of Cities Small Cities Council on a virtual meeting last week. As a member of the board of directors of NLC, I am the liaison to the Small Cities Council, and it's actually the first time in the Small Cities Council's history in the 100 years of the National League of Cities that the president, the vice president, and the second vice president and the board liaison are all women. So I think it's a great opportunity for NLC for this 100-year anniversary. But it was a very fruitful conversation because we were talking with cities across the spectrum. Whether we had folks that were in cities of 800 on the West Coast. We have cities that are up to 50,000 in the Small Cities Council. But we're all really dealing and struggling with some of the same issues. Those issues of trying to get that crucial federal funding that can bridge the gap for programs in our communities. And I know this is a conversation that Ms. Carter and I have had a lot because we need to be able to unlock as a smaller city that access to federal funding that some larger communities take for granted. And so that is something that NLC is going to be focused on. Some of us are headed to the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference next month. We are also all doing a fly-in to our congressional representatives next month. And so we've got some great opportunities to bring that point home and to communicate College Park's priorities on the federal level to ensure that we're getting our share of that pie. On February 28th, next Wednesday, I believe, at 7 o'clock at the Mackenzie Office Park on Godby Road, I get to spend some time with some of my favorite mayors in the region. Mayor Fluellen from Lovejoy, Mayor Vincent from McDonough, Mayor Burks from Clarkston, Mayor Butler from Forest Park, Mayor Sartor from Jonesboro, and Mayor Robinson from Douglasville are all coming here for a Meet the Mayor session. And we're capping off Black History Month. Several of us are the first Black mayors in our cities, and we are really excited about getting together. I have great respect for each and every single one of them, and I think it's going to be a fantastic conversation. You can check our social media outlets for more information. So that's all I've got. Councilmember McKenzie?
Certainly. And some of the things that I'm going to say tonight will be a bit repetitive, but I guess we're in the same city and we're doing some of the same things. February is an exciting, event-filled, and commemorative month because we celebrate Black History this month, we celebrate love on Valentine's Day, and today is President's Day. You know, President's Day is a holiday that occurs the third Monday of every February to celebrate our past and present presidents. It was originally established in 1879 to recognize the birthday of George Washington, but then it became a day to honor all presidents. And we celebrate our presidents because of their great contributions to the United States and to our democracy. I also want to send a special shout out to a man who's very, very special to me, my dad, Dr. James E. Spencer, who will be celebrating his 90th birthday in a couple of days, and we spent the weekend with him. I also want to say happy birthday to all those of you that are celebrating a birthday this month. On February 7th, Councilman Carn, the mayor, and I were privileged to meet with former Mayor Shirley Franklin to gain words of wisdom and to identify ways to move our city forward in a positive direction. And as I stated earlier, I'm willing to do everything that's necessary to see that occur. It was really wonderful speaking with Mayor Franklin and getting her perspective, even in terms of the system of governance that we have in College Park. And she truly understood what the council has been doing and what our response to the charter has been. I want to thank our former Mayor, Shirley Franklin, for taking the time to pour into us. And I attended the Keep Georgia Beautiful Legislative Day at the State Capitol on February 8th with our Public Works staff and our Keep College Park Beautiful board members. During that time, our director, Francis Kennedy, received the Governor's Circle Award. And we are still working on ways to keep our city clean and to keep our city beautiful. I want to thank all those that were able to come. We celebrated our 16th Senior Valentine's Social on February 9th at the GICC. I want to give special thanks to our phenomenal police department for showing love and appreciation to our seniors this year and for over the last 16 years or so. We had great music, we had great food, we had great fellowship, and lots of fun. I also want to give a special thanks to Miss Emma Dudley and the Lassiter Chapel, United Women in Faith, and the EESD Scholarship Foundation crew for recognizing my husband, Jeffrey McKenzie, Captain Jeffrey McKenzie, and several other aviation professionals on February 10th at their celebration. It was a celebration, it was an appreciation, a remembrance for Black history, and it was beautiful to see all of our youth. There were so many youth there that attended and participated in the event, and Councilman Gay was there with us as well. On February 13th, Congresswoman Nikema Williams, her office paid a visit to our College Park Fire Department to show appreciation and to thank our phenomenal firefighters for their service with gift baskets and treats. Thank you, Congresswoman. I'm trying to make her a councilwoman. She don't want to be a councilwoman. Thank you, Congresswoman Nikema Williams, for your support. I also want to thank the publishers of Style Maven magazine for featuring myself and Councilwoman Tracy Arnold as well for our accomplishments and our historic victory and the legacy that we have, and actually putting us on in that magazine, which just came out a few days ago. On February 14th, I was privileged to spend Valentine's Day with several of our seniors living in College View Hills at the Lindsay Building. We had chocolates, roses, and a phenomenal saxophonist, and lots of treats. And to show our seniors, we just wanted to show our seniors how much we love them. I also want to thank Cigna for partnering with us, and to Mr. Thomas Walters, who organized this amazing event. I also attended the College View Housing's First Resident Association meeting, which was held last Thursday, February 15th. And I want to thank Ms. Althea Morris and her leadership team for all they do. And we're looking forward to working together to do great things in College View for our community this year. Today, I want to thank our Power Director, Hugh Richardson, and Stuart Jones, who is our Senior Regional Manager for MEAG, for providing an introduction and orientation to MEAG, which is the Municipal Electric Authority of Georgia. We had a really good, they were just so well prepared, and they were so good we couldn't even ask them any questions, so I want to say thank you, you. We also are conducting several upgrades in City Hall, as you will notice over the next few days and weeks. And a special project that is dear to me that I have discussed with my colleagues, the city manager, and Krista Gilbert, which is that of upgrading our break room. They have an employee break room in this building. And our staff spend approximately 30 to 50 hours a week in this building. And the environment in our break room leaves much to be desired. And so I have requested that a suggestion box be utilized to get input from our employees as to how we can spruce up the room. And so beginning, I think in the next day or two, we will have some cards, and the suggestion box is already up there in the break room, and we'll probably send something out to all of our employees. We want to get your feedback about what you think would make that break room and that environment better. So over the next 2 weeks, we'll have those going out. I'm also happy to announce that College Park is officially an advanced voting site for our upcoming presidential primary. Early voting began today and will continue through March 12th. So just want to tell everybody, spread the word, get folks out to vote. You know, voting is the only way that we can make a difference in our government. And if you miss the deadline to vote in this primary, you still have time to get registered to vote in the general election, which is still several months away. But this election that we're having right now in this early voting is going to determine the nominees that we will vote for in the next election. So get out, make sure you vote, make your voice heard. I also want to say a special congratulations to our Convention Center Director, Mercedes Miller, who was spotlighted by the Cox Media Group Neighborhood TV platform today for Black History Month here in College Park. Thank you, Mercedes. You make us look good all the time. Also want to say shout out to Chief Connie Rogers and our College Park law enforcement team for their recent successful investigation and shutting down a local drug activity ring. During this time, felony arrests were made and drugs and weapons were confiscated. Thank you, Chief Rogers, and to your team for your tremendous service to our community. I also want to piggyback on the restrooms for Barrett Park. It's still going to be a while. Want the Ward 1 community to understand that there will not be anything happening there in a while. We're still, I met with Michael Hicks today, and there's still some concerns about the technology that will be used for the opening of the restroom. So I ask that you bear with us. There will be an announcement made as to when that is actually going to happen, but it is not going to happen as soon as we thought it might have occurred. Also, my first Ward 1 community meeting will be held this Saturday at 10 a.m., which is February 24th. This Saturday, February 24th, at the Public Safety Building located at 3717 College Street. And our special guest speakers will be our interim city manager, Dr. Emmanuel Adirian, and Police Chief Connie Rogers. We look forward to hearing from them and getting updates regarding the things that are going on in the city of College Park. Last week, I published a list of 22 accomplishments and strides that our governing body has made during the first days or the first 40 days of this year. And I'm proud to be a part of such an amazing governing body that, in spite of all the things that have been said, we've been getting the work done. And so I'm not going to read the list because otherwise we'll be here for another 25 unnecessary minutes. However, I do invite you to go to our www.oneward1.com website for updates and information. Last, I want to make it clear that as the council person for Ward 1 in the city of College Park, I will not be sharing any opinions on agenda items prior to our city council meetings. And I urge all of our Ward 1 citizens to review our council meeting agendas and packets for yourself prior to our meetings. It is my conviction and my belief that our residents should determine their own opinions and views on items without any political bias from an elected official. And furthermore, I believe that it is best practices to hear from constituents about the business being conducted by the city in a manner that has not been obstructed or tainted by those with special interests that are not beneficial for creating a united, thriving community. As an elected official, it is not my responsibility to influence any of my constituents to think in any particular way, but it is my responsibility to hear from you and to represent you. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn.
All right. Just a couple of quick things. Hugh, I know we talked about the lighting assessment and you getting that underway. I was out at one of my apartment complexes, and it was coming on to dusk. There was a young lady walking into the complex out of her parking lot area, and she had a little baby in her hands. Couldn't be any more than about 2 years old, cute as a button. They're walking towards their building unit, and it's near dark. It's dusk, and she's walking up the stairs, and the corridor, the hallway, no lights are working in the hallway corridor. And I just said to myself, you know, in addition to the lighting assessment in terms of the outside adequacy of the parking and whatnot in and around the apartment complex as well, I want us to look in terms of code enforcement, in terms of those breezeways and corridors in the apartment complexes. As you all know, we're 75% apartments and rental. That could be a very dangerous situation. We need to assess every single apartment complex to make sure there's adequate lighting in those breezeways. City manager, I guess that's going to take code enforcement, and the only way to assess that is to go out at night and see what's lit and what is not lit, and that means each and every single apartment complex in this city. If you do them one a night or half of one a night or whatever you get together, this year we're raising the bar, and we're raising the expectations citywide. City manager, I need some soldiers out there. Yeah, because that's what it's going to take to clean this city up, and we're going to get it together. Chief Connie, great takedown of that motel drug business. You say you got, what, 4 guns off the street? You know, that is where the rubber meets the road, y'all. We've got a lot of work to do in this city, a lot of work to do in this city, in particularly in our multifamily corridors, convenience store corridors, and motel corridors. That's where a majority of our crime happens and occurs. And I want us staying down in there and making sure we root that out and regulate things over there, just in general. People, you know, they want to see a sense of control on the south side of town in particular. There's a lot of neighbors that feel like they're treated like second-class citizens. And it's not directly from the city per se, but sometimes it's just a perception and it's a mindset that goes on. This is not a problem that police can solve on their own. A lot of things directly on the street is a combination of police, code enforcement, and public works. And those are crucial to working together every single day to root out a lot of these issues and the blight and the litter and things like that we need to double our efforts on, city manager, double our efforts to get this city cleaned up and moving in the right direction. I think we've been making good progress. We've probably got more done in 60 days than we've gotten done in the last year. So we're moving forward and we are making progress. But it takes bold and decisive action, and we're doing that. And I have no reservations for doing that when I think it's for the good of this city. I held my first community meetings of the year. My first one was February 11th. We had a pretty large turnout, good information getting out. The second one was February 14th, Valentine's Day. We had something for our residents over in the Camp Creek corridor. Went really, really well. The city manager, we do have a grants position in place. We're just looking to fill that. Yeah, that's something we definitely need to look at. I've said it many times, that's one position that will definitely support itself and subsidize itself. So I'm looking forward to getting that position and getting a real go-getter in that position in particular. I've been looking at some new ways of serving our customers. And our customer, again, for those who don't know, is the resident first and foremost. That is the customer. I heard about a town outside of Jacksonville, Florida, and they stumbled onto a concept. It was a rather rural area. They had one or two grocery stores, and for one reason or another, the grocery store was closing down. And the city, well, they started thinking outside of the box. They did not want to end up a food desert. A lot of cities are food deserts. We're one of them. And they decided, they said, well, we want to keep this grocery store. So what can we legally do? And they decided to buy the building. They had staff. They had part-timers. They had, I guess you could consider somewhat an overage of staff, or staff that wasn't being utilized and maximized. And they took staff that they already had to man that grocery store and subsidize that grocery store, and they supplied the grocery store with the rural farmers in the surrounding community. Now, we don't fit all of those, criteria there necessarily, but I want us to start thinking along the lines of new things that we can do for our community in terms of answering the needs of what they need and figuring out a way to make it happen. Anything is possible, and I think we can do it and get it done. So I want us to look at some stuff like that. A subsidized grocery store is something worthy of consideration in this community because we need one. And if the big box retailers won't come in or don't want to come in a particular area, maybe there's something that we can do, or a scaled down version of something along those lines. But city manager, I want us to start looking at some new things. Krista, I thought I saw Krista earlier. I guess she must have just walked out because she was at the back there. Well, I'd like to get a staff vacancy report by department to see where we're at here at the beginning of the year. See, I had a couple other things, and then I'm done. The council retreat. Well, I hadn't heard that date either, Mayor, but I actually had something on March the 2nd, but I will postpone that and move that. I think it's very important that we get it together up here, and how we present ourselves to our community is very, very important. I hope we can come out of there with a definitive way and manner of doing things that's acceptable to everyone, or at least where we can all get along a lot better. I think we can do better, and we're going to do better. So that's about all I had. I did peek my head into the Roses tournament. It was great, Michelle, as usual. And the senior social was wonderful. We had a lot of seniors that had a really great time. So I think we're making good progress in this city. 2 months in, and we're making serious progress. And we want to keep the progress going. So that's all I got.
Councilmember Arnold?
Okay, without repeating too much of what my colleagues have said, I want to first thank Dr. Emanuel and the entire Public Works team for addressing the couple of safety issues that were brought to my attention by a couple of my constituents in Ward 3, and that's Ms. Sabrina Cornelius and Gilbert Rodriguez. The team, actually, they responded immediately to the crumbling sidewalks and the missing street signs, and I appreciate that and those efforts in making sure that we keep all of our citizens and our visitors safe. I also wanted to thank the sanitation crew for cleaning up the debris and the rubbish in 3 North, and the power crew for the double-digit street lamps that were installed on the Godby Road corridor. These activities also support the vision and efforts for us keeping that Tri-Cities Mixer at Rich and Poor, the Canopy Atlanta event at the Art Exchange, and of course, we all participated in the BIDA joint meeting where the mayor and council were asked our thoughts and vision for the BIDA board, and we shared those items. I also participated in the Clayton County Municipal Association quarterly meeting. Mayor Motley Broom was present as well, and I thank her for appointing me to the bylaws committee to represent College Park there. I participated in a site visit of the second phase of Temple Square with the developer Rod Mullis, and the completion of this development is awesome. It's going to bring about $3 million of additional real estate value to the community, and I'm very excited about that. I did a walkthrough at the Tracy Wyatt Recreation Center to gather more insight of the services that are offered out of the center and the upcoming needs that the center has, and I'm looking forward to making sure that we have what's needed there. I think the highlights, though, over the past couple of weeks was again the Valentine's Day, the candy deliveries that I made to Princeton Village and to the nursing home, and then participating in the Valentine's Social, Senior Social, hosted by College Park Police Department. It was funny to watch my colleagues dance. Some of us were outdanced by the senior citizens, but it was just a great opportunity for us to socialize and to have fun. And thank you to the College Park Police Department and all who participated in putting the event together. Thank you to the chief and the special task force, the detectives, the investigators, all who participated in taking down the drug outfit on the Godby Road, Old National Corridor, and the efforts to keeping our streets safer. I'm very appreciative of that, as I know my colleagues are as well. And of course, it has already been mentioned that early voting has started. Please make sure you exercise your right to vote. And finally, I just wanted to note that I will be hosting my first quarterly community meeting on March 27th. I'm working with the team now to make sure that we have everything in place to have a successful conversation, and I'll be sharing more details about that event in the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Councilman Burgett?
Okay, I just have a couple comments so we can get y'all out of here and go into executive session. I want my condolences to Pete. He lost his mother. Pete, I'm living on Lakeshore Drive. I noticed anybody who saw those cars I stopped by the house today and said, Pete, I've never seen a family that's as large as yours. And they grieved for 4 days. They had our street for 4 days. He says, this is just how my mom's raised us. So my condolences to his family. Want to thank Dr. Anarania and Dr. Emmanuel and for the street striping on Lakeshore Drive. Now look, who would think that just a street striping makes a difference in the community? My community actually think a street striping is a capital project. That's really hilarious that a street striping. But I said that to say this, believe it or not, it's the first time I've seen pedestrians walk safely inside of that little net. And then the Main Street Academy sent out a letter thanking us, because who would have thought, and I don't take credit for this, it was actually an engineer guy who worked here. He came up with the idea that the street was wide enough to add an additional car lane. Just that simple. Steve Jobs said life was never about creating all those phones and all that technology. He said life for him was just trying to make stuff simple. If you can figure out how to make stuff simple, you've accomplished business, okay? So, thank you for the sidewalks. Now, I know this is gonna be sensitive, and I'm gonna get through this pretty quick, but you listen. You know, the GICC in the arena was on our auditor's report. Now, this has nothing to do with people. It has to do with money. It is unconscionable. It is, in fact, we call this an oxymoron. You can't lose $8 million a year after year after year after year. That is not sustainable. Then on top of that, you can't lose $8 million on the arena. That's $16 million of losses year after year. That money deserves to go into the taxpayers' communities, to their services, to our rainy day fund or whatever. So my point is, we need to look at a cost containment study or something to figure out we cannot no longer be complacent with you're doing a great job. It's not about people now, it's about money. And we cannot continue to lose $16 million when only 7 out of 25 of my streets been paid since I moved here in 1998. My kids still swinging on the same swing set, Marquise Grisham, when it was Jamestown. We're not going to keep losing $16 million. We'll sell it. You know, rappers making $500 million, rappers. And here we got an organization that's losing millions of dollars. Bring a rapper down here, do something. Media. Now, enough is enough. Now, I'm not going to start beefing with the news. But here's the thing. The people coming down here talking about how we look and how they heart aches. I get it. I'm grieving too because my wife didn't become the mayor. We grieve every day. I'm listening to her every day grieving. But we got to get over it and move on. She done moved on. Y'all got to move on. And having said that, you can't keep calling the news down here every time you're not getting your way. You can't keep calling the news every time somebody get fired. Well, guess what? All administration change. In fact, on the federal level, they resign before the election's even over with. So every time a decision is made, it's not that these people up here are salacious or we unprofessional. No, that's not what this is. And you know, my son, I keep saying this, who went to Columbia, he told me and my wife, he said, listen, y'all can own y'all opinion, but y'all cannot own the facts. And the facts of the matter is this. Every administration changed. In the last administration that predates this council, we lost all our directors, except for a faithful few. And nobody was down here stop calling the news. Call the news when the Easter egg hunt gonna be over at the field. Call the news when something, but just don't keep calling these because they wanna make us look bad. They want us to look salacious. You should see how many press releases I send out on something positive. They don't even call me back. So please, family, stop calling the news. Please stop calling the news. Special thanks to billing director. I'm not gonna say what he did, but our billing inspector we bought from the DeKalb County, and DeKalb County got an awesome program. They have turned around some deficiencies that we've not done in 16 years. They have turned around deficiencies that we haven't done in 16 years. And they were bold about it. It wasn't even political. 16 years. So thank you for Dr. Manning and your team leadership. And last but not least, I'm gonna say this to my colleagues. I'd like to have a little bit of sidewalk built in-house from Family Dollar to the gas station because they just ain't got nowhere to walk. They like to walk, so it gonna be over his limit.
You want to make a motion?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion that we add the sidewalk from Riverdale Road. It's approximately 450 linear feet by 4 inches wide at 4 inches thick. We don't need no rebar. Did you get that?
Yes, a sidewalk on Riverdale Road, about 4-something.
450 square feet. Thank you, Councilmember Corn. Is that second?
That's my job.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Madam Clerk, do you have the motion?
Yes, I do.
Could you read it back?
Yes, add a sidewalk on Riverdale Road from Family Dollar. I'm changing pages, 1 second. From Family Dollar to the gas station on Riverdale Road.
I believe there was some additional.
450 square feet, linear feet. But
450 linear square feet.
that's my motion.
With no rebar.
Roger, do you want extra cheese on that?
No. No, I don't need any rebar.
I repeat it. I repeat the motion. The motion is to add a sidewalk on Riverdale Road from Family Dollar to the gas station, 450 linear square feet with no rebar.
Okay, my last item.
Hold on.
Yes,
Oh,
second.
there's a motion.
Second.
Haven't called for one yet. Hold on. I'd like to turn the gavel over to Councilmember Carn.
No, thank you.
Councilmember McKenzie?
I have a question now that we're up for discussion.
We're not yet. Councilmember
we're
Arnold?
not?
No, I actually want to, I have some questions about this whole process.
Promotion process?
No,
So-
this process, that we've taken a motion and we're in closing.
Oh, do you mean you don't want us to do a motion?
Hold on, there is a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion, Councilmember Arnold?
I just had a question about the process. Is this the appropriate process?
Ma'am, by tradition, we have done this many times. I've sat here for a lot of years in multiple administrations, and this is not uncommon.
I just wanted some clarification.
Yes, ma'am, but we've by tradition done this for a lot of years.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
Councilmember McKenzie?
Yes, so, this is for Councilman Gay. So, you're saying this is from Riverdale Road to the Family Dollar? Is that what we're meaning?
Well, let me clarify, and I know it's a little humorous, but let me clarify. The reason why we're doing this publicly is because it'll be over his amount. And out of tradition, this is just, most of it was just a courtesy. It was being transparent. I did tell you that was approximately 450 linear feet, which is about from here to that back door.
Okay.
About 4 foot wide.
Okay.
But it'll be over his limit. But it's
Okay.
from Family Dollar on Riverdale Road to the gas station. There's no sidewalk in front of the old Hemwood Apartments.
Okay, so the cost would be more than 10,000, 12,000? Okay, all right, I got you.
Any further discussion?
Yes,
Councilmember Arnold, go right ahead.
can we at least get what the cost is going to be?
That's no problem, ma'am. Yes. I get 3 quotes and bring the estimate in.
Is there any further discussion?
Doctor, I would say,
Councilmember Carn, go right ahead.
I would say if this is something that we can pour, if we can pour it, for less money, let's go in and pour it. I know so if we can.
So
We were
Wait,
doing
wait,
our
hold on.
just like in
Hold
your
on.
district.
Uh-huh.
We got a quote
Okay.
that it was done in-house for like almost $8,000 cheaper.
Yeah. Councilmember Corn, this is,
Hold on a second, hold on. Let me make sure
I
that
thought
everybody
we
gets.
talked amongst ourselves that we talk freely. I didn't know we had to be Red Robin or Robin Rounded.
If you just ask to be acknowledged, I'm happy to acknowledge you. So Councilmember Gate, go right ahead.
Councilmember Corn, actually I'm following your lead where you asked for a sidewalk on Frontage Road. I don't even remember the discussion. But this is in-house. This is just the cost of the cement.
Yeah, if we can handle it, I think it's something we can handle. Seems like a short distance from the Family Dollar to the,
It's 450 feet.
to the,
Yeah,
to the,
we
uh,
already met out
couples,
there,
yeah.
Raymond, Cotton, myself, and this is done internally.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
No, and Madam Mayor, I had one final,
Motion passes.
the, we talked about the EPA grant for the Priya gas station on, Main Street. And it's determined that, it's been 4 years and they still haven't done anything. But there's still money left. So what I would like to recommend is we look at, and this is not a motion, this is just, that we look at seeing if any of the target property is eligible for remediation with any monies we have left, because it is absolutely an eyesore. You know, we have a project called Bowen Home in Atlanta. Flip a temper. No, you laughing, but look, they were remediated. And if Bowen Home can be green space and I know Target can be green space. It is an eyesore.
It is.
And you got tens of thousands of motorists coming up there every day looking at that. And so we need to look at our brownfield remediation money and see what we as a city can do. If we did it for the man at Pure Gas, we can do it for perhaps this developer. That's all I have.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session for the purpose of real estate, personnel, and there's something else that we're supposed to do today. Was it, what else? Okay, real estate and personnel.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We'll go into executive session at this time.